All right, fair use disclaimer. This is your brother Wild Rum. You're back with another lesson. Lord, willing to be edifying. I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Waha, Rakakadash, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, bishops, the great millstone who taught me this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 men of the Lord. You see on the highways and byways prophesying in the name and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Also in the correct doctrine. Also, want to send a shalom to the 1/3 men, women, and children that will escape the justice of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai by their faith. Lord willing, this will be an edifying lesson. As you see, breaking, Iran shuts off all negotiations with Trump. Let's get into these videos and hit a couple scriptures.
Massive news out of the Middle East where Iran has announced they are cutting off all negotiations with the United States of America after Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran again last night. And Israel is also conducting military operations in Lebanon. Both are violations of the ceasefire. And whatever peace deal that was moving forward last week, well, that's been completely thrown out the window now. And expect oil prices to continue skyrocketing as Iran has now announced they are closing the Strait of Hormuz indefinitely. And let the record stand that I was telling you this all along. Everybody on the progressive left was telling you this all along, that Donald Trump was going to start an endless war with Iran. He's doing just that. This war has no end in sight whatsoever. We still aren't even feeling the worst effects of this war economically. And there's a good chance that things are going to get increasingly worse heading into the midterms. The only saving grace is this is all on Donald Trump's hands. Innocent people in the Middle East live under the terror of Israel and the United States of America, the two most evil imperial powers in the world. We have to put an end to these wars.
And see, these Edomites is telling you they're tired of war, man. And they see that their nation that they pretty much represent is going through the world and rape, rob, and murdering, man. Conquering, in other words, man. So you seeing these Edomites, man, they seeing that what they're doing is leaving them a stain on their nation, man. Because all the nations are against Babylon the Great and the small hats, man. It ain't, it ain't us telling you, them telling you now. You know what I'm saying? I mean, starting with the men of the Lord, man. We've been telling you for many years, man, this place is a wicked nation, man. One of the wickedest nations ever to exist. Now these Edomites are telling you their nation is what's the reason why all this war is in the earth, man. Endless wars, man. Death and destruction all over the globe.
Negotiations have collapsed between the U.S. and Iran as the Israelis are the ones that have now pushed us back to the brink of war. The Israelis continue to invade Lebanon and now this morning threatened to destroy the capital despite having 2 ceasefires in the past 2 months that tell them to stop. The original ceasefire with the Iranians had a ceasefire in Lebanon, so Iran says if Israel does not stop, we will not sign a deal and we will resume war to protect Lebanon. And if you're wondering, it looks like Donald Trump has chosen Netanyahu's war on Lebanon, and now the Americans are going to have to fight Iran because Israel cannot defeat Iran on their own. So if they keep attacking Lebanon to draw Iran in, this forces the Americans to join them in their war. For the peace deal with the Iranians, the Americans have removed the part of a ceasefire in Lebanon at the direct request of the Israelis, and this is something Iran says has to be included because Israel wants to dictate what's in an American and an Iranian ceasefire. The Americans now have to rip it up because apparently Israel's interests are more important than the American interests in this peace deal. Comment your thoughts, follow me for more.
And that goes to show you the least of the flock shall draw them out. So they had it where DT was trying to make a deal to stop the war. But as he said, if they continue to strike in Lebanon, that will force the Iranians to make the choice of going to war against the small hats in Lebanon, man. Which that might be on the table still. But the thing is, DT thought it was just going to be him making a deal, striking here and there, and that's it. And that's coming to an end, man. No more talks, no more peace agreements, none of that, man. You on to World War III, and there's no turning back, man. Because this has happened as well. Let him bring this up.
All right, y'all. Now we got some big problems here. Iran just announced that they're ending all negotiations and communications between them and the US. But the big issue here is that they said they're going to be implementing the full closure of the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. alongside Hormuz. Now, it was pretty clear that the ceasefire was coming to an end pretty soon because of all the violations over the past few weeks, as well as the small country violating the ceasefire with Lebanon every single day. But Iran now closing both the Mandeb Strait as well as Hormuz is a completely different beast. Because the Mandeb Strait was essentially the back door that was being used to bypass Hormuz. It's the main reason we haven't entirely fallen apart. But now with Mandeb closed, the Saudi pipeline is now fully cut off, which means that oil is completely shut off from that region. But more importantly, it adds a bigger problem on top because 30% of global container trade goes through the Mandeb Strait. This is essentially 30% of global shipping, okay? So this makes the problem go from mostly an oil problem, an oil and energy issue, to a everything issue, consumer goods. If you thought prices were bad so far, you haven't seen nothing, all right? This is the real thing. Because you got to remember that most of the general inflation that we've been seeing has been from obviously oil, but the inflation from the consumer goods has been due to diesel costs, the cost for the trucks to deliver the goods. Now it's a different story. It's a major disruption to getting the goods entirely. The shipping containers are now stuck there. There is a bypass around Africa, but it adds like 2 weeks to the trip, which, I mean, that just skyrockets the cost. We're looking at serious shortages now, mostly Europe and Asia, but the prices are going through the roof. Because, of course, just like oil, everything's traded on a global market, and, well, if they're getting hit with shortages, it's a global supply chain collapse. Hormuz alone was already a major inflation issue. Both of these closed, it's a totally different beast. This right here, what they just announced, is exactly what I've been warning about. Okay, this is exactly why I've been saying, in all my videos, plant a garden, like stock up on like beans, rice, whatever. You got to stock up now, but it's too late now. If they close both of these straits, the goods are now like insanely priced.
And we know that's going to happen, man. So you guys, let me pull that up on a map. You got the Mandeb Strait and the Straits of Hormuz, and they pretty much let me pull it up. But the Mandeb Strait is the strait that's basically going to be stopped by Yemen. You see it right here. Let's see if I can pull it up on the map. So the ally in Yemen, Israel's not Israel, but the Iranian ally Yemen, they're cutting this off, the Mandeb Strait, and you have the Straits of Hormuz. So the oil was being Saudi Arabia was being able to, I guess, back channel the oil from um, taking it through the Straits of Hormuz to taking it through the Mandeb Strait. So they cutting that off as well, man. So it's going to be shortages everywhere, man. So you see that war is going to happen regardless if you believe it or not, man. World War III is the door, man. And I'm going to hit a couple scriptures, man, because we are here at the door of World War III, about to really get hot. Because I want to bring out another video. I'm going to hit a couple scriptures before I bring this other video out. Because I've seen where the small caps have also hit the Russians' supply chain to Iran. In the, I think it was the Caspian Sea. I'll pull that video out so you can check that out as well, man. So we at the door of World War III, man. This is Revelations 11, in verse 14. It says, "The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly." So we see that the MOTB is at the door, man. Which I seen brothers bring out videos. It's June, ain't no microchip, which Nate said it wasn't because he didn't believe in what the apostles and elders of Great Millstone on down been bringing out, man. Because everything we've learned through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah is obvious now. It's plain, man. You can't deny it, man. If you're denying it, you're gonna take it, and that's the point of the men of the Lord warning you not to take it because it's coming, man. And that's the MOTB. And you see, if World War III is at the door, the Lord ain't forget about that prophecy as well as the MOTB. So here you go with Revelations 8 verse 13. It says, "And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe," meaning destruction, man. 3 woes, man. The three world wars, man. Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. So we know the angels are going to control the judgment, man, the wars. And we see that these angels are about to release the judgment, man. But the MOTB has to be brung in before the angels let loose, man, and send the judgment of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. This is Revelations 14 in verse 6. And it says, and I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice. And we're preaching the everlasting gospel, man. It says, saying with a loud voice, fear power and give glory to him. And that's the only thing that matters now, man. To fear the Lord and believe in his word, man. Because the judgment is coming if you believe, like I say, if you believe it or not, man. It's gonna happen, man. There's no doubt about it. It's just saying to the saying with a loud voice, fear power and give glory to him. For the honor, for the hour of his judgment is come. And see, we see the hour of his judgment is coming, man. It's very, very close. And that's why we're saying through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah, the MOTB has to be at the door, man. Because these nations are ready to fight, man. And I'm going to show you this video after this scripture right here, man, letting you know that Russia's a big player in this last world war, man. And you see the least of the flock is drawing them out, man. I'm going to show you the video. As soon as I finish the scripture, it says, read it again. It says, saying with a loud voice, fear power and give glory to him. For the hour of his judgment is come. And worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters. So that's all that matters, man. Having a job, getting money, going, taking trips, traveling, that doesn't matter, man. Because the Lord is finna bring judgment, man. Worship the Lord, man. Don't worship nobody else, man. Not no Most High Christ blessed, not Jesus, not Christ, not Buddha, not Allah. It's Yahweh being the Father and the Son being Yahweh Shah, man. That's who are you to worship, man. Because we are very, very close, man. You're going to see that we're very close when I show you this next video, man. Verse 8, it says, let me slow down. It says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drunk of the wine of her wrath of her fornication, man. It says, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of power, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So war with Babylon the Great goes hand in hand with taking that chip and being destroyed, man. That goes hand in hand. So Babylon, we know, is at its end, man. It's fallen. It said in 1 hour, this judgment is going to come on this place. But that MOTB has to come before the judgment comes, man. Now, I got a couple more scriptures I want to hear, but I want to show you this video. Matter of fact, I think it's like 2 videos. Now, check this out, man.
Some breaking news. Israel just bombed Russia and they've blown up a Russian supply line to Iran. And this supply line carries Russian oil, Russian weapons, etc. And Israel just blew them up. And Russia is preparing to go to war over this. Well, today, Israel has carried out their first attack onto the Caspian Sea. And according to reports, Israel, quote, targeted a supply corridor used by Russia to transport drones, ammunition, and other military equipment to Iran. Now, it is worth knowing that Russia is one of the biggest military equipment suppliers to Iran, and vice versa. Iran supplies Russia with their famous Shahed drones, and in return, Russia gives Iran helicopters and missiles and things like that. Well, Russia and Iran both border the Caspian Sea, and rather than sending this equipment by land, they send it through the sea, through a 600-mile-long corridor. Russia also has pipelines as part of this supply corridor, and so Israel might have bombed them too. Currently, we don't actually know whether Israel bombed ships which were transporting equipment or whether they bombed these pipelines. The reports are quite vague. All we know is that Israel bombed one of them, or maybe both of them. However, because of how big a deal this is, because Israel has bombed Russian equipment, it suggests that the war might go on for longer. Specifically, in just the last day, Polymarket has predicted that the chance the war with Iran will end by the end of this month has dropped from 18% yesterday to 13% today. And that's because Russia has now been attacked in this war, making it far more likely that Russia will supply more and more equipment and intelligence to Iran to help them fight against Israel, meaning the war will go on for longer. Now, Russia has not officially issued a statement on this yet, even though their own equipment and transport corridor has been blown up. And so it's likely they will, and they'll probably officially just call for peace, as they normally do. But behind the scenes, they're going to be quite mad. A lot happens behind the scenes that we don't hear about. And so, leave me a follow, because once we find out more, I'm going to keep you up to date on all of the global news, especially if Russia continues to help Iran.
So they goes to show you that, like he said, it was going to be, be mad behind closed doors. But that also shows you that the hooks are going to be put in the Russians' jaws, symbolically speaking, to make them fight, man. So the Lord is pretty much going to force the Russians to fight, man. They're not going to just be able to say, well, no, we ain't going to do nothing. We just going to let this pass over. That's not going to happen. The Lord's going to force the Russians, the Medes, to fight, man. This is what's going to bring in Ezekiel 38, man. Ezekiel 39. This is all, man. This is all showing you that this is biblical prophecy unfolding, man.
Some breaking news. Israel is about to go to war with Russia. I'm serious. In fact, Russia just evacuated a massive nuclear power plant because of it. Well, today, Russia announced that they're evacuating over 160 Russian citizens from the Bushehr nuclear power plant. If you don't know what that is a Russian-built and Russian-operated nuclear power plant in Iran. It was built in 2008 by Russia, and it's Iran's only working nuclear power plant. The controversial part, though, is that this was believed to be the only safe place in Iran. Israel had promised that they would never attack it. Russia believed that. They told the workers they're safe there. Until today. And that's that today, Russia has received new intelligence suggesting that the Americans and the Israelis are preparing to bomb this nuclear power plant. This is not an Iranian military target, and if they bomb it, it could result in a war with Russia. But still, the US and Israel don't care. And so Russia, even though they thought it was safe, has now realized that they were wrong, and they're evacuating their citizens from it so that Russian civilians don't die. This could literally result in Russia joining the war, and could be what drags the US into a war with Russia, and that would be World War III. Not to mention, it could literally be started by Israel, and Russia has announced they've got intelligence that the US and Israel are planning to do that. This is something I personally never thought would happen. I thought this nuclear power plant, as Russia said, was safe. I didn't think Israel and the US had the balls to blow up a Russian power plant, but it seems they do, and it seems it's coming. And so, if it does happen, leave me a follow, because I'm going to keep you up to date on this, because it's something that could make this war a whole lot worse than it already is.
So there you go, man. They keep poking the bear. And like I said, this shows you the Lord is going to force Russia to get in there, into this fight. And we see, man, this is the biblical prophecy coming, popping like popcorn, man, coming right off the pages, just as we've read it and just as we've been taught. This is Revelations 11 in verse 18. It says, and the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints. So the Lord is going to give the men of the Lord and the believers of Yahweh Shem Yahushua salvation, man. This is one of the main rewards of the prophets and the saints, man, to receive salvation and be delivered from the destruction that the Lord is going to bring, that judgment, man. So, you know what I'm saying, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, you should understand, man, this is it, man. It ain't no going back in the world. We got 10, 15 years. This is it, man. So we seeing that they don't even care, like he just said, they don't care if that's a Russian-made power plant or what destruction that will bring if it's hit. So you're seeing the Lord is stirring things up, man, because he's about to receive, we're about to receive salvation as the Lord returns, man, that brings the destruction, man. It says, "In them that fear thy name." That's plain, man. I got to start over again, man, because that name that we've been given, Yahweh being the Father, Yahweh Shah being the Son, is the names for us to call on, man. Because those men and women, those prophets and those saints will be called on the name of the Lord. They will be fearing that name. Revelations 11 and 18 again, it says, "And the nations were angry, and their wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great." So that name has been given to us, man. Don't let nobody fool you about, oh, we ain't got the name, we're gonna get it in the kingdom. We got it now, man. Because the Lord clearly telling us those that fear thy name, and that's the saints and that's the prophets that believe and have faith in that name, man. And should us judge them that destroy the earth. And who's destroying the earth, man? The Edomites. So the Lord is bringing the judgment on the Edomites and these other nations, but mainly Esau, man. This is who the Lord is coming back to stomp out, man. And there's no way out of the judgment that the Lord is going to give to Esau, man. This is Revelation 18 and 15 and verse 4. It says, "Who shall not fear thee, O Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and glorify thy name?" And the glory of the Lord's name, man, is easy, man, to say and believe and have faith in, because it's tried and tested, man. Just like his word, man. We've been calling the name of the Lord, and blessings been coming, man. And you might not think, oh man, what you didn't get this, you didn't get that. No, it ain't no blessing that's getting blessings here like a house or a car. You know, what you can, which what the Lord will give you. But the point is, this word that we've been blessed with, man. That's the blessing, man. Knowing who you are, knowing who your power is, knowing how to call on his name, man. Knowing his will, man. So you believe and have faith in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, you're in good case, man. 4 again, it says, Revelation 15 and 4, "Who shall not fear thee, O Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shah, and glorify thy name?" And if you glorify the name, you fear in that name, man. It says, "For thou only art holy, for all nations shall come and worship before thee, for thy judgments are made manifest." See that? Thy judgments are made manifest. And we are prophesying the judgments that are coming, man. It's been manifested to the hopeful elect, man. It ain't hid from our eyes anymore, man. First, you was in the world, didn't know what was going on, man. Worry about working, worry about taking care of your family, not knowing that the Lord was at the door, man. So the Lord woke us up before his judgment came, man. And, Lord willing, we endure to the very end, man. As well as, brothers in the Akwath and Akim, as well as I'm, trying to do is my part as well, man. Doing, doing the best I possibly can and make sure I'm doing everything to get on that chariot, man. This is 1 Peter 4 and verse 7. It says, "But the end of all things are at hand." And we see that, man. When the Russians come into this thing, man, we know that those missiles are going to be shot off, man. That's how we know the MOTB is very, very close, man. It says, "But the end of all things is at hand, but be ye therefore sober and watch under prayer." So we have to be sober, man. Not getting caught up in the world, man, because a lot of judgment is going to come on 2/3 of our people, man. So we can't get caught up in the world, man. Getting your emotions all, turned upside down because Jake got judged. It's the Lord's will for 2/3 to be put to death, man. So the Lord wants us to continue to pray, man, that we won't get caught up in those things that the Lord is going to bring up on the earth, man. Because that's judgment coming on 2/3 of our people as well, man. This is John 5 and verse 25. It says, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Power, and they that hear shall live." And that's the elect, man. We heard that voice before the Lord brought judgment, man. It says, "For as the Father have life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself, and have given him authority to execute judgment." See that? Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to bring judgment, man. That's what we warn you from. You 2/3, man. You Israelites is on the fence. The Lord is coming to bring judgment, man. You don't have no more time to play around with this truth, man. This is it. We coming to the finish line. And he had and hath given him authority to execute judgment. Also, because he is the Son of Man. See, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is coming to bring judgment, man. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto resurrection of life. That's the ones that's going to be saved. And they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. So, you Israelites, man, you see World War III is at the door, man. You should know what the MOTB is, man. Many, many lessons that went out. And you see, and you should see that that day can happen any day, man, where they bring all hell break loose and judgment of the Lord is everywhere in the streets, man. 30, it says, I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just. See, the Lord's judgment is going to be just, man. The Lord's judgment going to be just. Just because you got a newborn baby, you know what I'm saying? You went to church 30 years, man. If you ain't in this truth, man, you're subject to be judged, man. It says, because I seek not my own will, but the will of my Father, which has sent me. And this is Yahweh Shah, man. Red letter, man. The Lord's coming to do the will of his Father, man. That's two-thirds to be put to death, and the elect to be saved, man. So Lord, with us edify, I'm in it there. Shalom. Shalom.